Good afternoon. Welcome to the Transportation Committee meeting of Wednesday, June 13th. I'm Councilman Mike Vaughn. I'm the chair of the committee. Ms. Martinez is not here today, and due to a fire in District 5, Mr. Koretz has been called away. So items we consider today will be sent to council as recommendations from the chair, which means it will require a 10-vote threshold at council instead of an 8-vote threshold. But as a result of that, we are going to continue a number of items until our next meeting. So for the regular agenda, we will be continuing items 1 through 9. And we will be hearing 10, 11, and 12. I was going to continue 10 as well, but I see that there are a number of folks who've taken the trouble to come on down to testify on it today. So we will go to item number 10.
Item number 10 on the regular agenda is a Weezer O'Farrell motion instructing the Planning Department with assistance of DOT and BOE and in consultation with City Attorney to report on the feasibility of including 5th and 6th Streets from Central Avenue to Broadway as part of the Mobility 2035 Bicycle Enhanced Network.
Okay, and I see a lot of cards on this one. I do want to clarify this is about the Bicycle Enhanced Network in CD14. So if that's the item that you actually want to testify on, then Krishna Olympics, Ariana from LA Can, Lindsay Nolan, and Wesley Walker, come on up. Go ahead. We'll start from the left.
Hello, my name is Lindsay with LA County Bicycle Coalition. LACBC has been working in partnership with LA Can for some time now to get street safety improvements on Skid Row. We support this motion to add 5th and 6th Streets to the Bicycle Enhanced Network of the Mobility Plan, and we thank Councilmember Weezer and his staff for working with us. Both of these streets are on the high injury network and in dire need of traffic calming and street safety improvements to accommodate the needs of the many people who walk and bike to get around Skid Row. This community has both high use of bikes and high need. In fact, preliminary analysis of our 2017 bike ped count data showed that Skid Row adjacent locations saw a 37% increase in bike traffic since 2015. We urge the committee to approve this motion and move it forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Wesley, and I'm here with other members of the Los Angeles LA Can Ride for Justice Committee, which is a committee that has been working to bring bicycle safety lanes and signage to 5th and 6th Street on Skid Row. And we are here today to encourage this committee to push this motion forward. This motion arrives at a time when conditions on the ground for bicycles are at their deadliest and worst. Just 2 weeks ago, during one of our back campaign meetings, a biker was hit by a car on 6th and Ceres, right in front of our office. And just yesterday, at the LA PD's commission meeting, according to Chief Beck, report out of his weekly crime stats, in which he stated crime is down across the board.
Thank you, sir.
So, well, can I finish?
We've got to stick to 1 minute per person. Please go ahead, Ariana.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Ariana Alcaraz. I'm an organizer with the Los Angeles Community Action Network, and we urge you to move this motion forward. 5th and 6th Streets, we've been looking for bike lanes on 5th and 6th Streets. They are main arteries in and out of downtown from the east side of Los Angeles. Cars are traveling at very high speeds in and out of there. We feel like a bike lane is the first step
to bike safety infrastructure in our community. And as we're seeing bike safety infrastructure investments happening in the neighborhoods around Skid Row, Skid Row still has very little bike safety infrastructure at the moment. And so this would definitely allow us and make way for that to happen in our neighborhood. And so thank you for hearing this motion today.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Johnny Coleman. I'm here representing DSA LA and No Olympics, and I'm a coalition partner with LA Can. Just want to echo what everyone else up here said. It's one of the most dangerous places in LA, both for pedestrians and for cyclists and for motorists. We appreciate the ball being started to be in the process of rolling, but whatever we can do to kind of help move that along, we feel like this is a fairly easy win for everyone here, and we don't really see the downside. So thanks very much.
You're welcome. And just so folks know, I'm going to be voting to recommend this be approved. Just if it saves you a few seconds when you're talking. So Craig Roberts, another No Olympics, Paul F., and Doug Jessup.
Hi, Craig from LA Can. I want to thank you in advance for what I'm sure will be your positive consideration of this motion. And I just want to point out a couple of the most pressing issues. Skid Row is one of the most bicycle-populated communities in the city, where bicyclists are hit by cars every year due to the lack of public safety infrastructure. Where Skid Row starts, the downtown bike lanes end, and where Skid Row ends, the bike lanes start up again. We're skipped over with bike lanes like we are for so many resources. According to the city's Vision Zero report, communities that are, quote, communities that are poor, homeless, disenfranchised, and people of color are those communities that need bike lanes the most, unquote. We ask that you move this motion forward ASAP. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for hearing our points. And we appreciate your positive outlook on this. As an avid city cyclist, I spend a lot of time riding through some of the most traffic congested and dangerous for cyclists area of the city. I live outside of Skid Row, and my personal views on houselessness has led me to work at LA Can. Because of the largely ignored problem of unsheltered folks forced to camp on sidewalks in Skid Row, there's no place for bikes or pedestrians to go except onto the streets. There are a number of bus lines on 5th and 6th, 3 or 4 on each street, I think, and the buses, trucks, and cars go at a high speed through Skid Row, making for an extraordinarily dangerous situation. The streets are on the city's high injury networks, as noted earlier. If folks in City Hall aren't willing to offer the thousands of human citizens of Los Angeles who live in Skid Row a public safety solution like bike lanes, then do it for the many cyclists from the resource-rich side of Main Street, who will soon be passing through Skid Row for a leisurely tour of the Arts District, which is now getting its own bike lanes. If a white cyclist from the west side gets flattened on 5th or 6th Street trying to make her way to the Arts District, you'll have to revisit this issue then, I'm sure. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Doug Jessup, part of LA Can. I didn't prepare anything like that, but essentially moving forward the motion of bike lanes will actually start to create positive movement for the individuals there, the community, where people can actually see that the city truly cares. I mean, as far as something as simple as bike lanes really makes a big difference for individuals that are sleeping on the sidewalks. They start to feel people care about them, and I think that's definitely worth it. I mean, just the small little steps is definitely worth it. So we asked to move the motion forward as soon as possible, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, it ain't particularly easy to do bike lanes when a white West Sider is injured either. It's been a bit of an issue on the West Side. So there was a Chris No Olympics and a No Olympics that I called. I don't know who filled out the cards, but I think Mr. Coleman was one of them. Is it Kai? K-E-I? Okay. Eric Previn, Linus, and General Dagon.
I'm part of LA Can Human Rights Organization, and public safety is an issue for all people, regardless of how rich or how poor, how affluent you are. And Skid Row have a large homeless population that deserve bike lanes in their community. I totally support the Skid Row LA Can's project for Skid Row bike lane on 5th and 6th Street. Why they had bike lanes in downtown but omitted it in Skid Row is beyond me. But the people deserve bike lanes. It should continue through Skid Row. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is General Dogon, and I'm also a member of LA Can. And I want to reiterate what everybody said. We do need bike lanes on Skid Row. And another thing I just wanted to talk about real quick, that we need this right now. And the reason why we need this right now, when you look at conditions that are currently on the ground. Yesterday I was at the LA Police Commission, and Chief Beck reported out his crime stats, in which he said crime is down across the board, except for hit and runs. It's up, particularly on bicycles. It has doubled from this time to last year. And so far this year, 9 people has died from bicycle deaths. And that's up from 6 last year. And we still have 6 months left in the year. So I just want to encourage this committee to push this forward. And thank you, Mike, for your support.
You're welcome.
My name is Linus from LA Can, and I just wanted to say that we need to excuse me. I support this motion, and I'm happy that you are supporting this motion also. And yeah, I just want to say we need this done as soon as possible. This is part of the Skid Row Bike Lanes campaign is part of a larger our larger Dirty Divide campaign and report that LA Can has put out that talks about the public safety infrastructure inequity that has a huge difference between those west of Main and east of Main. Everything west of Main they get the most beautiful things and all the money in the world, but east of Main we get shit.
Thank you.
Just on this item alone, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think this is a good choice, and I commend Councilmember Huizar for agreeing to make the motion, and I assume the council will pass it. It's a reasonable and decent thing to do. And it is important to, several of the speakers mentioned that a number of the people who are unsheltered obviously don't also have cars. So bicycle is the preferred mode of transportation. So they're particularly vulnerable. And, you know, in addition to that, obviously, when a person falls off a bike or gets bumped or hurt, you know, it's hard enough if you have any resources and a place to stay. So I really think that this is a good use of public resources, and I support this motion. I would say in terms of how they're laid out, it would be best to outreach and see so that you can avoid some of the battles that are unnecessary.
Thank you. If you want to just stay there, because after I do this item, I'll do general public comment, so it'll be just a minute. Mr. Herman, you can have a minute on this one, and if you want to stay, I'll do general public comment next. Oh, and it was Steve Diaz? Did I call it Steve Diaz? Okay. Thank you.
So you hear how unsafe it is to bicycle?
Start the clock, please.
Do you see how unsafe the city has made a hostile conditions to ride a bike? It's just simply a bike. And we're all in that belief that we're safe, but the city has created a so-called danger zone, which is every time you get on a bike, because of Jose Huizar and the other members who push for more alcohol in our neighborhoods, right? It's necessity, convenience. You become a victim of a hit and run. Just today in council, for the record, they paid out $850,000 for someone who slipped and fell. Did they slip and fall off their bike? Did they slip and fall simply because of tree root? It happened in 2013, and they paid out $850,000. So I don't trust the city of Los Angeles just as much as many of you don't trust Jose Huizar, who messed up your small little community downtown.
Thank you. All right, seeing no further comment, I will eagerly and enthusiastically recommend approval of this and send it to council. Thank you, everybody. Okay, and Mr. Previn and Mr. Herman, you can each have a minute for general public comment.
It's okay.
Because I'm continuing the rest of the item.
So I understand you continued about 8 oversized parking items, which is intended to put people who are currently unsheltered in harm's way and find them and cite them and get them out of the neighborhood. And then you've got another 2 that are moving from something called a temporary preferential parking district to a preferential parking district.
Yeah, those items have been continued.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just describing in my general public comment what you were looking at, which are both initiatives to back people up out of the area. And, you know, preferential parking district 276, as Mr. Nagel and Mr. White will recall, is a sore subject. It's in my area, Studio City CD2, and I requested of Salida Reynolds and Felix Valde to respond to the Public Record Act request for the appropriate information they're supposed to share with the community. I've still received nothing. And you guys shoved it through without real community outreach, which is a big red flag. And this is not a strategy for a city that wants to do no harm. And just as I close, I'll just say Sheila Kuehl at item 11 provided some safe parking LA in 2 locations, both in North Hollywood and over on Melrose. And I think it's a big first step.
Thank you, Mr.
And I hope you do
Previn.
the same.
Time is up.
Sir. Thank you.
Mr. Herman, you have 60 seconds.
So ADA prohibits discrimination. However, at Tahunga and Melrose Place in Hollywood at 5205, we created a free zone for those who do not occupy affordable housing, let alone have HHH. Unnecessary and unreasonable. Why? Because of discretionary charges such as loitering, disorderly conduct, resisting, and failure to obey. So what do they do to you? They enslave you like they've done in the camps with Adolf Hitler. They separate you from the non-disabled and they place you in a fucked up place called a parking lot because with $1.something billion from Kevin DeLeon, the dick, and the other portion of Bon and the dick, it's too bad because Fat Nuri and Koretz can't be here to deal with the real issues.
Dr. Williams?
Good afternoon. Dr. Tom Williams from Citizens Coalition for a Safe Community and others. Basically, one of the things we're having trouble with is the Department of Transportation, which seems to have its own little silo fully protected. Does the Transportation Commission, which meets tomorrow, do they actually process these things before they come to the City Council? I don't think so. And there's an issue as to DOT seems to be isolated and isolating itself from the public via the Bureau of Engineering or Construction Management, and we can't get access to. I issued 6 Public Records Act requests to the LA DOT this morning, and I couldn't even get to the floor. I had to meet in the lobby of their building. So it's a question as to why are these not publicly accessible.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes general public comment. We are going to receive and file item number 11, in so much that it's on the agenda for the special in a minute, which brings us to item number 12, which is...
Item number 12 is the city attorney report and ordinance adding a section to the municipal code designating by council resolution, stalls or spaces on a public street or publicly owned parking facility for the exclusive purpose of charging and parking a vehicle that is connected for electric charging purposes.
Thank you. We can dispatch with this quickly. Basically, I was going to continue it for 2 weeks, but just to relay to the city attorney the request of the chair and of the mayor's office that the draft ordinance include an exemption to the AGF facilities ordinance for EV charging infrastructure. With that, we will continue that item for 2 weeks. And that concludes the regular agenda, and we will adjourn this meeting, and we will open the special meeting. I will call the roll, and I am here. And any item from this will also be referred to council as a recommendation from the chair. So we will continue until our next meeting, items 1 through 3. And that brings us to item 4 and 5. Seeing that there's no other members here to ask questions, I will just recommend approval of both of those items and send them forward to council. Okay. That concludes this meeting. Was there any comment for this one? I don't see it up on the screen. Okay, all right. So these items will be heard in council with public hearing. So we are adjourned. Thank you.